my wife had some very specific conditions, which was have a job, have a company that would support that move financially, because it's expensive, right? And I think we knew, well, for me, you can naively think, well, look, I'll just move overseas, I'll get permanent residency and I'll land. Yeah, but, when we first arrived, sorry, this is a little bit divergent, but when we first arrived, we didn't have a Canadian credit history. So we had to pay for 3 months rent up front plus another month in advance. Mm-hmm. Like, we were paying for 4 months worth of rent. It was like a check of like $9,000. It was ridiculous, right?
Hang on a moment. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but this is just so interesting. I just wanted to bring it. Like I myself, as a new immigrant, I had a very difficult time finding a place to rent because, like you said, I don't have a credit history, and the landlords were like, where are you working? I want your tax records. I want your pay stubs. And I have nothing because I'm new here. So did you have that kind of a difficulty in terms of finding a rented place when you moved in?
Yeah. I mean, so we had obviously credit histories in New Zealand and all that sort of stuff. And some of the companies are even the same. Mm-hmm. So Equifax being a big one in Canada and a big one in New Zealand. Canadian landlords, they don't care about that. They want to see a Canadian credit history.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't have a Canadian credit history, and you won't because you're new, then you have to do something else for them to trust you. And a common way to do that is to pay more rent up front. Now, that's not to say you never get that rent back. It's essentially you're prepaying your months. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's just a big expense that you may not be prepared for. And, sort of a one-bedroom apartment in Toronto can be around, say, $2,000, right? Well, if you have to pay, mm-hmm. 2,000 Canadian dollars, I don't know, 1,800 US, something like that. So if you have to pay 4 months in advance, and originally they wanted us to pay 6 months rent in advance, 6 months. And I said, yeah, right. So that's going to be like 12 grand plus another $2,000 for, your last month's rent. I was like, no, thank you. Look, we'll pay you 3 months in advance or nothing. And they were okay with that. But I think that's why it was important when I was negotiating with my wife to move here, she said, you have to find a job up front. You have to find a company that will support us in moving. Otherwise, you would have to save tens of thousands of dollars to be successful. And so I was very lucky that the company that I work for is based in America. And so they supported me financially with moving over here. I had a job. It was my job in New Zealand that I moved across to Canada. So I was very blessed in that regard. I didn't have to find a new job here in Canada. Job market here at the moment is very tough, especially with, the pandemic and stuff like that.